Right then, hello everyone and welcome back to the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship. We are here for round number 7 of the 2021 Formula 1 World Championship as we continue the European leg of the calendar, and we are here at the Hungarian, just 15 kilometers off the capital of Budapest, here in the village of Magyarod at the Hungarian for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Yes, Formula 1 is back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here at the historic Hungarian Grand Prix. My name is Miran. In the commentary booth today, we've got 12 minutes of the first stage of qualifying just ahead of us. Joining me in the commentary booth today, it is none other than Giuseppe. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Miran. We're back at the Hungarian once again, and I can't wait to see what it brings to us.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be a very, very exciting one indeed, especially judging by the past races at this track. Especially, we had Formula 2 on yesterday, which was very exciting indeed. But, yeah, we're currently on board with Tomas Mandic, and as he's just making his way around the circuit, I will take you through the track. So, the Hungarian then, located in the village of Magyarod, in Hungary, just as I said, 15 kilometers south of the capital of Budapest. The track was opened in 1986 after plans by FIA boss Bernie Ecclestone to host a race in the USSR, but those plans fell through, and instead they hosted one in Hungary instead, which became the first ever Formula 1 race to venture beyond the then Iron Curtain in Europe. The track also hosted motorcycle races in the 90s, but has hosted Formula 1 ever since 1986. So Formula 1 has been the one big series at this track, and you've also had a few other different racing series as well around here. Things like WTCR, MotoGP is didn't mention, and then European Le Mans series as well. But yeah, there has been some very, very interesting races in Formula 1 here in the past, and that is due to a lot of different things, obviously. But the layout which we are running, which is 4.381 kilometers long and features 14 turns, has been in place since 2003, and well, I have to say, this is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting tracks on the Formula 1 calendar due to how it is built. Really, the elevation paired with the narrow, the very, very narrow track and the sweeping bends. A lot of drivers liken it to Monaco without the barriers. So yeah, it is a very interesting track indeed, and I'll just ask you what you make of the track then, Giuseppe.
Yeah, track, as you said, it is in fact, well, Monaco without barriers, as it's known by a lot. It's a very tight track. It's hard to find an overtake, but a highlight for overtaking spots is essentially turn 1, and also you see turn 2 and turn 3 being one, as if you're daring enough, you'll be willing to go round the outside, very fast left-hander, and hopefully not end in contact. As well as, well, the track, as I mentioned, yeah, it's hard to overtake, so just need to follow through and find the perfect gap to, well, make the move count. But turn 1 is probably the highlight when it comes to overtaking, and in general, also, like, it's like, you know, Monaco, we say that it's like the barrelless Monaco, but it's also a lot faster than Monaco. You have those very fast corners, and it's just exciting to see, really. So it's a very nice track, and I always look forward to it.
Yeah, indeed, it is a very, very special track on the Formula 1 calendar due to its properties and characteristics. But we currently have the first, or not the first 20 times, but we have a decent roundup of the times on the board then. And this actually currently just went fastest out of Jesper Johansson, Will Parrish lifting himself out of the top 5. And your bottom 5 at the moment, Luca Farina, followed by Alexander Arnold, Daniel Fraser, Josef Frederick Schuto, and then Victor Albom. So we've currently got the man who won last time out at Silverstone, currently in the bottom 5. So do you think that maybe comes down to a poor first lap, or just he's maybe been held up, or maybe something else?
Well, I'm sure he has the pace, and he has 5 minutes left to set a better lap time. And I just saw he wasn't in the pits, but he's coming back out now. So he has one try, but you have to make, or maybe 2, but you have to make that count because, of course, sitting in 19th there, and also 6 tenths off Alexander Arnold is not that comfortable a situation. But knowing Shuto's pace, I'm sure he can make the best of it.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if he is going to be able to improve. Usually we do have in qualifying a few of the top guys maybe do get held up on their lap, or they make a mistake or something, and then we see them in the bottom 5 for the majority of the session. Dennis Groff now goes up into P5. Will Parrish going up into P9. Alpha Tauri looking strong here as well. P9 and P10. Daniel Wala as well. After a very good qualifying showing at Silverstone, he'll hope to carry it on here to Hungarian as well.
Yeah, Kulisek, as we remember, he did get a very good qualifying result at the French Grand Prix, which was the last Grand Prix I actually commentated of F1 before being away for some days. I remember there he was very close to the podium, just about missed out, and I see his luck turned around a lot at the British Grand Prix, even getting the fastest lap. So, and before that, at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, he got a good 5th place. So, seems to be in a good moment.
Yeah, Kulisek is having, I have to say, a really great run of form at the moment in these past 3 races. I have to say he's been on an absolute hot streak as well. So yeah, Vojta is having lots of fun in the mid-season at the moment, and we'll see if he's going to be able to carry on the momentum he has here to the Hungarian.
Indeed, as he's sitting right now in 5th, so he would be comfortably through right now. Also a pretty good lap time, only 1/10 off of the man on provisional pole right now, Parachki, as he does come back in, probably being satisfied with his lap time. Shoots and as we saw, he is not in a very comfortable position, so he's gonna come around the final corner. What does he make of it? It's a good lap time. It's 11. He's in 11th, so that would make him safe for now. Chavez also says a bit of an improvement. He's 13th. I don't know if he was already. Because it's an improvement. Album also with an improvement, but he's still very far off the man in front. So as we see, the drivers now trying their best to get out of the danger zone. As we are here with Sasnishka, who's also being a very good run in form. Sasnishka, must admit. As he got 2 podiums in the last 2 races, podiums that Ferrari desperately needed after a very underwhelming season for the Italian team. Well, the iconic Italian team. As 2020 was clearly not their year, so Sasnishka now is having podiums in the last 2 races, now sitting in P3, pretty comfortable. His teammate on Anhalt Mandic is also right now with P2. He hasn't been having the same performances that his teammate has been having, but if his teammate can, I'm pretty sure the car is there, and maybe he can try to turn it around. As we're looking at the 2 Haases, both of them going on laps. Haas has not been having a really good season, and they still need to find that decisive break to turn it around. As we look at Fraser right now, he's in 18th and also on a lap. He's one of the 3 cars still in the 20s, as both Haas come into the pit lane, and judging by that, I'm pretty sure he's going to stay in Q1 and get eliminated there. As Farina in the Alfa Romeo, who's also still in the danger zone, is now coming around the chicane and into the fast left-hander, followed by a very also fast right-hander. He's about in sector 2. He's also going on a lap trying to get out of the zone. As he now comes around the final few corners in sector 3. 1 hairpin, followed by another. Well, I guess a pretty long hairpin, we call it that, because it is a hairpin, but it's a pretty long one. The final corner, that is. As he now rounds off the final corner, what time will it be for Luca Farina? It's only it's an improvement, but he's still in that zone, so he will set another lap now. I don't know if the tires will give him that good of a performance to get himself an improvement, but it's all up to him as Mandic sets a lap time good enough for P2, only 10 hundredths of Parachki. That's a great lap time for the man in the Ferrari. So he's surely going to be through. Right now, the bottom 5 are Luca Farina, Daniel Valle, Adrian Fraser, Arnold, and Albon. Shoot also, that's an improvement, so he's safe now. He's up into 6th.
Yeah, that is good for Josef Frederick Schuto then. Both McLarens through. But yeah, it is looking a bit uncertain for Alfa Romeo. They will have one car out as Daniel Wale is into the pit lane. Alex Broster in 9th will make it through into Q2 here, so very good showing once again in qualifying for Alex Broster. I have to say, Broster has been absolutely brilliant in qualifying over the course of the season, and his teammate Alexander Arnold would like to join him in Q2. Let's see if he is going to be able to do it then, as he's going to go across the line, and he does so. Up into 12th goes Alexander Arnold. Good stuff from him. Luca Farina as well gets himself out of Q, gets himself out of the elimination zone, then up into P14 he goes, but he knocks Franco Gamba and Fernando Tost out into out of Q1. Tomas Mandic now goes fastest, joining Enis Parachki in the 118s, as next across the line is Laban Zasnishkai.
Yes, sir, we're now coming across the finish line. It's a good lap time, sets him into P4. He was safe before, he's even safer now. So is Shuto. As we now look at Enis Parachki, he's also pretty much safe. And I look to still try and go for an improvement. It's first. It's a good lap time by the Macedonian. Very good one. So we now look at Alfred Klaus, who's also pretty much safe. Comes across the line. It's not an improvement, but he will be safe. As Jesper Johansson also is sitting there in 6th. Still gonna try and go for an improvement. As the man comes across the line, it's not an improvement, but still a good enough, still there. So the cars have been knocked out. Is Franco Gamba, Tost, Wale, and the both houses of Fraser and Albon. So Kulasek is true, but Gamba has been knocked out. So it's if Kulasek can get a good result this qualifying, it's gonna be an up but also a down, considering their second car, Gamba, is sitting there in 16th, so it's gonna be an uphill race for him. Fernando Tost has also been having a bit of a worse running form, as he got no points at the French Grand Prix and retired at the British Grand Prix. Now has been knocked out in Q1 as well. He's sitting in 17th. It's going to be an uphill race for him as well. And we also see Wale there. Frein, of course, managed to get off Q1. Alfa Romeo, who also have been having they're sitting 9th in the standings, but now only have 4 points to their name, but still have been doing the best of what they can manage. And of course, sadly, we see both the Haas's once again out, Daniel Fraser and Victor Albon. Still, it's clearly not their year this year, because they're the only team, and they have the only 2 drivers who still have 0 points. So it's clearly not looking good for them. And it seems like every race just keeps on getting worse. So we all hope for the best there for the American team. As we now are going to head into Q2. First car on track is Laban Zasnishkai. As we now wait for the drivers to set their first laps. Drivers only have about 10 minutes time compared to Q1, which I think is 2 minutes. 2 minutes now, 12 minutes. So now first car on track, Laban Zasnishkai. As I did mention, like the turn he's going through right now, turn 2 is a good overtaking spot. As drivers tend to go around the outside. Turn 3 as well, but also then turn 4, which is very risky, but drivers do tend to go for a move around the outside here, or even on the inside. It's still very difficult because it's a very fast Kona. And another overtaking spot, as I'm going to show you that while Laban Zasnishkai takes his lap through, is also this chicane, as we've seen some drivers, for example in the 2 yesterday, go for a move around this corner. Maybe in F1 it will be the same. And then the rest of the lap is consisting of quick corners, then followed by the 2 hairpins. So then again, not many overtaking spots up until here, where we saw yesterday. It's at least in F2, drivers were making mistakes, and then they did follow into this hairpin, and did try to make a move as well as into the final corner, and then heading onto the straight up until the first turn, using the DRS to their advantage, and also the DRS on the second straight, as both DRS zones are basically consecutive to each other. So now Sinishka is going to go through his lap. Enough about the zones. I guess we can talk about the track itself, as turn 1, as I said again, is a good overtaking spot. As well as, yeah, pretty much the sector 1 is where we'll see pretty much all the highlights of the race. If we talk about overtakes, as well as a bit of the end at sector 3, so that's where you'll have to look out for. The rest of the lap is just the drivers trying to stay close to each other, not lose of time, and especially do not make mistakes on this track, because one mistake, and while we compare this to Monaco, you find the barriers at the Hungarian, you'll find the grass or gravel, so it's equally as bad, and you'll have to watch out, because this track is not, it won't take excuses and won't forgive you at all, because we've also seen, at least yesterday in F2, gonna make comparisons there again as well, drivers going wide a lot of times. So in F1, of course, we might have the same problem as well, as the cars are bigger even. So, but now Sinishka is gonna come through and set the benchmark lap, as he was the first car out on track, and it's a 1:19.5. So seems like a good lap time, as in. But I think in Q1, 1:18.9 was the lap time to beat. As Shuto comes second in the 1:20, so it seems like he'll have to settle second time again. Farina 1:19.8, Kulasek in second. So we're just gonna wait for all the cars to come by to make a judgment. Cheresne in third. The next car is Johansson, 1:19.2, provisional pole for the Swede. So good lap time by Jesper Johansson. So those are 7 drivers who now set lap times. I think the 8th is going to come round now. It's Broster, 5th place. Good lap time by the man in the Williams. And now I think another driver is going to come and set lap time. It's Dennis Graf, and that's a 1:19.1. So provisional pole for him. It seems like a solid lap time. So good stuff by the man in the Red Bull. As there's still about 6 drivers who still have to set a lap time, and then we'll have all the drivers who have set at least 1 lap time, and they'll go off from there. Adelberg, 6th place, good stuff from the Swiss. Now we have 10 drivers on the. And then Mandic again, in the top 3. He seems to be liking this track, as he has been up there in Q1 as well. Arashki 3rd, Shuto 5th, as he sets another lap time and improves. And now we only need 3 more drivers to set a lap time until we have all of them. Parrish in 10th. Good stuff from AlphaTauri, as they are in 10th and 9th. Arnold in 14th. And 1 more car to set a lap time. Not sure who that is, but Johansson did an improvement. 1:19.08. And Klaus was the final car to set a lap time. The other Red Bull puts himself into 4th. So it's. The top 5 right now is Jesper Johansson, Dennis Graf, Enis Barachki, Klaus, and then we have Mandic. And the bottom 5 are Parrish, Broster, Farina, McIntyre, and Arnold. As Graf actually sets an improvement, he's the first car in Q2 in the 1:18s. Sets himself at 1:18.195. 9:15, I'm sorry about that. As drivers only have about 4.5 minutes left. Erik Adelberg comes around the final corner to set another lap time. It will not. It is an improvement. Sorry, it's an improvement. I stumbled upon my words. Oh, that's a mistake for Paris. So it probably won't be a better lap time. But Adelberg sets himself into 8th. Mandic and Satnishka both improved without a new lap time. Oh, actually, I think Paris might be impeding the Alpine there. I'm not sure about that. That means if the Alpine is on a lap, but the stewards will have to take a look at that one if it was impeding or not. As yeah, Parrish, no improvement for him, as that mistake cost him the lap time, so now he's gonna come round and take another attempt. Arnold doesn't improve as well, sits down in 15th. Klaus sets an improvement, puts himself up into 3rd. So good stuff.
Yeah. Hi again. Sorry about my absence, but yeah. Uh, Q2 elimination race looking quite tight at the moment. We got Will Parrish on a lap here at the moment. So, what did I miss?
Um, well, we did see Parrish actually locked up and impeded the Alpine behind him. So I'm not impeding. It depends on the context. Maybe it wasn't impeding and the Alpine had enough space, but he did lock up and didn't manage to set a better lap time, as he's gonna come round and set a better one now. As we all saw, basically all 15 drivers set a lap time as Parrish comes to the pits. But yeah, all 15 drivers setting a lap time. Well, right now the bottom 5 are Parrish, Proster, Farina, McIntyre, and Arnold. Graf is a provisional pole with a 1:18.8, the best time thus far today. Arnold now sets an improvement up to the 14th. But yeah, and otherwise, I just highlighted the overtaking zones pretty much. And other than that, we're just looking at the drivers and I have 2.5 minutes left to do what they can of this Q2 session.
Yeah. As we now see Luca Farina start his lap then. I don't know if you touched upon the drivers who were eliminated in Q1. I don't know if you did that, but yeah, I think it was honestly quite the shock to see Daniel Wale go out of Q1, especially considering how great of a qualifying session he had back in Silverstone. He just completely fell flat on his face, really, and now starts all the way down in P18. And Franco Gamba as well as Lewis McIntyre now goes up into P6. I have to say, Franco Gamba's season has been very disappointing so far.
Yeah, as if we look at his teammate Wojtek Kulasek, who's scored, I don't know if it's his first podium, but if it is, it is his first. We just scored his first podium, and it has a tally of 39 points, while Franco Gamba only has 4. So Alpine has about 90% of Alpine's points, or even more than that, come from Vojta. So it's really been a bad season for Gamba, who scored his only points at the Portuguese Grand Prix about 5 rounds ago, with an 8th place finish. And after that, I mean, he did retire in the first race, then he scored points. Maybe he thought he was going to turn it around then, but it only followed by more non-points finishes and retirements. As Kulasek, well, Alpine did have the double retirement at the start, but then Kulasek went on to have a good. He's still having a good moment. As right now he's sitting in 10th. He's a bit he's at risk, of course. I think Chevesne is only about 9,000 behind him, but other than that, Kulasek has been having a good season, and if he can make Q3 once again, he's going to have a good starting position. But yeah, also we saw Tost going out, who's been having also a pretty decent season. Right now he's been scoring most of the points for Aston Martin. He also went out in 17th. So disappointing session for the pole. As we're looking at Farina setting another lap time. He's currently midway through the track. Right now he's in 14th. Of course, his teammate did get knocked out in Q1, maybe trying to do better to get his teammates into Q3 even somehow, or maybe just a good starting position to then get onto the points for the race, as now the clock has run out. So the drivers will have to set their final laps. Chevesne doesn't go on an improvement. He's going to stay in 11th, so that's Chevesne knocked out. Proster and Arnold are in the pits as well, so they're knocked out as well. Both Williams. As Farina now comes across the line, will it be an improvement? It is, but it's just 12. It's still good, but it's not enough for Q3.
Yeah, that is a bit of a shame for Luca Farina. Either way, a decent effort from the Italian in qualifying, but unless Will Parrish is going to be able to improve here, I think the eliminated 5 will be set in stone. Bit disappointing for Aston Martin recently as well. I believe in Silverstone they didn't have a car in Q3 either, so now that Chevesne is out of Q2 here as well, I think it is going to be a bit disappointing for him as well. But the only man who can change the bottom 5 order then is going to be this man, Will Parrish, as he goes across the line, and he does it! Up into 10th goes Will Parrish, and that's knocked out Wojtek Kulasek.
And the man who finished on his first ever podium last race, now down in 11th. Let's see what he can make on that for the race. But I think that... Wait, I don't know if that's Farina on another attempt. or he's just coming back into the pits. I don't know if he actually made the line before the clock ran out, but I think actually he might be on another lap still as he now comes across the line. Maybe I don't know if people actually didn't keep up with that, but he does come across the line. It's not an improvement. So he stays in 13th. So the eliminations are Kulasek, shockingly, as he's on a good run of form, but maybe he still has a chance at points. Chereznia, Farina, and the two winners of Alex Prost and Alexander Arnold.
Yeah, I just have to say, bit of a shame for Wojtek Kulasek starting outside the Q3 or starting outside the top 10. But both AlphaTauris, you really have to give it to them. They've been solid on qualifying throughout the season. Both Parrish and Adelberg making it through into Q3.
Yeah, good stuff from the AlphaTauris. As we've seen, AlphaTauris been having some good quality performances, I must admit. Generally in the season, at least as far as I'm aware of. You know, it's AlphaTauri right now, 7th in the constructors. They've been scoring points there and there, with Parrish on 11 and Adelberg on 6. So it seems to be a good driver pairing, and they've been scoring decent points. So let's see if they can do it now at the Hungarian, as they're both in Q3. Let's see what they can make of it.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see. Obviously, AlphaTauri, the two drivers have had very, very good results, but they have gotten a bit unlucky throughout the season. Obviously, Baku comes to mind. I think you had both of them making contact with each other, if I believe it was. So I remember there was a contact regarding at least one of the AlphaTauri drivers, which put him outside the points. So, yeah. Safe to say, luck hasn't really been on their side throughout these first few races of the season, so we'll just have to see if that is going to change heading into this race. As we're now here in Q3 then, first man out, Laban Zasnishkai, who I think is still a bit bitter after Silverstone. Finished second, 2 podiums in a row. What was I going to say? 2 podiums in a row for him in this season so far, but I think he's a bit disappointed with himself not being able to hunt down Josef Frederik Schuto for the win at Silverstone.
Yes, Nishka's been having a good run of form. I did mention earlier on, I think, while I was talking, that compared to Andic, Mandic hasn't had as many points, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt, as right now he's been looking good at this track, as he's now into Q3 as well. So maybe this track can turn around and get a good result, as I do believe in him, as I think Ferrari do have the pace to be getting decent points in the top 5 and podiums there and there. Just not enough to challenge with Mercedes and Red Bull just yet.
Yeah, they have been looking really strong on the pace, Ferrari. Especially compared to last season. It seems that they are able to get the ball rolling now, especially here in the mid-season, and we'll see if Laban is going to be able to deliver once again here at the Hungarian. But it won't come easy, obviously. Silverstone was a pretty chaotic race, and everything just lined up perfectly for Zasnishka to be able to get that second place. So we'll just have to wait and see if Ferrari will be able to post competitive results heading into the later half of the season. Same goes for McLaren as well. We'll see if they will potentially be able to fight the likes of Red Bull and Mercedes. But yeah, we'll just have to see what they're going to be able to do then. Obviously, all eyes today will probably not be on the Ferraris and McLarens. It's going to be on the 2 Mercedes cars, considering they are the 2 stars of the title fight at the moment. Dennis Perachki leading Jesper Johansson by 16 points. So we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose, what is going to happen here.
And Perachki, who is the world champion of last season, he's still keeping a good form this season, with 2 wins and 4 podium finishes, and he hasn't dropped out of the top 5 once. So, in terms of results, in comparison to that, Johansson did have that race to forget at Paul Ricard, where he finished out of the points. If he had finished in the points there, I'm sure they would be nearly equal in points, as they both have the same amount of podiums. But yeah, that unlucky race for Johansson meant, generally it was caused by that because he didn't finish that well in quali, and that unlucky placement meant he's now a bit far off. So he has a pretty much tall ladder to climb. 16 points do seem like not that much, but in the title fight, that's huge. So we'll see how he turns around. As 6 cars are set now their lap times. So Snishka right now with provisional pole.
Yeah,
McIntyre second, but third.
Oh, sorry.
No, go on. I was just recapping the top 3.
Yeah. I think it is going to be interesting to see what is going to happen, but I don't think we're going to have a major upset in the title fight here, obviously, unless we have a Silverstone type race again. But yeah, Johansson only made very, very minor gains on Enis Parachki. Both of them were hit with time penalties, obviously, at Silverstone. Speaking of Jesper Johansson, he actually goes fastest out of the bunch at the moment, with his teammate Parachki in third now. As we're just having the times coming in on the board then. Dennis Graf in 6th, and then Josef Fredrik Schuto in 7th. We're just awaiting Alfred Klaus, who now goes fastest. Only man in the 119s. So there's Will Parrish across the line. This is also one of the shortest laps on the Formula 1 calendar, so we're going to get... so drivers will be able to get a few more laps in and actually properly challenge for improvements on the board.
Yeah, as they have 2.5 minutes left, so if that's maybe 2:40, if they have started a lap now, they do have about 2 attempts left. As we now see, Parachki is sitting currently in 4th. Let's see what he can do. Lap time to beat is at 1:19.9. Parachki comes across the line. He stays in 4th. No improvement yet, but he does have an attempt at it.
Yeah. Alfred Klaus, the fastest at the moment, is very, very interesting. Considering I think both of us were probably expecting that a Mercedes was going to be on provisional pole, but still 2 minutes to go. Anything can change in this session, and Dennis Graf now goes up into P5. Not the greatest of sessions right now for Dennis Graf. I think you would expect him to be a bit higher here.
Yes, we have Sasnishka up into P3. Good placement for the man in the Ferrari, as he seems to be in a very good run of form. As we're now looking at Josef Fredrik Schuto just about start his lap, as he's coming through the first sector. And he's currently sitting in 8th, man who won last race, so he's going to look and try to find higher placement and keep that good streak going. And now we look at Adelberg, who's sitting in 7th. Good placement for both AlphaTauris, really, 7th and 9th, and looking good. So...
yeah, we'll just have to see what it's going to be do. One man I do want to comment on at the moment, though, Giuseppe, is Thomas Mandic, who is in the pit lane and actually isn't going out again, considering he doesn't have enough time to go out. He currently sits last with a 1:21.467. He is 6/10 off just the next car, which is something very weird, as Dennis Graf now goes across the line and he gets himself up into 3rd. Now it's looking a bit more like it for Dennis Graf, and Red Bull sit 1-3 here in quali.
yeah, it's good placement for Red Bull, as Klaus right now is about 1/10 clear of Johansson. As we now look at Adelberg, he's gonna come round the final corner, the pretty long hairpin, as he now comes onto the straight. What will it be for Erik Adelberg? It is not an improvement. He's in 7th. As I want to mention, Parachki did set an improvement. He's only 1,000 behind Snishka, sitting in 5th, but right now it's going on a lap again. As yeah, Mandic, he's very far behind, so maybe he got impeded or just locked up or something, because that's not a good lap time, and he's gonna start here in 10th, as he was looking promising in Q1 and Q2, so that's a shame. And Parachki comes back in again.
Oh, that could actually be big for the title fight, Giuseppe, considering you're going to have Jesper Johansson P2 at best, and then Enis Parachki P5 at best. So that could be quite major, and Jesper Johansson comes in. He's not going to attempt to take pole. He will. He doesn't see any point in going out anymore. What about Dennis Graf? Dennis Groff certainly sees a point in it, and he is going to round the final corner. Let's see if Dennis Groff will be able to topple his teammate Alfred Klaus here as he goes across the line, and no, not at all. I think he got held up on that lap there.
Yes, I think it probably means that Klaus is going to be our positive for the Hungarian Grand Prix, as the only cars who still have to go across the line is pretty much Albert, and then we're going to have all the cars having set it up. So let's see what Albert can do. It's going to come across the line. Now going to the final corner. And now onto the straight. And his lap time will be no improvement. So yeah, it's Alfred Klaus on pole position.
Yeah, I think that's just... that is all but confirmed at the moment. Dennis Groff, I don't think is going to have enough time to get an improvement in. We're just waiting for the confirmation then here, as Adelberg, I think, is on his in lap now, but I think it's Dennis Groff as well. It's just about to come in, and yeah, there it is then. So, taking Red Bull's 4th pole this season, then Alfred Klaus will take pole here at Hungary. And yeah, that is qualifying done and dusted then. And it is going to be Klaus on pole. And I have to say, Giuseppe, it didn't seem like he had much in the way of him taking pole today. It was a very good lap from him, sure. But you had a lot of drivers who could contend for pole today, just not set very competitive lap times. And not set many improvements either.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but that just means it's better for Klaus as he's comfortably could set a lap time and set himself on pole position, as it's a Swedish 1-2 with Janssen behind him. And Red Bull with a good result today, 1st and 3rd.
Yeah. Red Bull have the advantage here today, as you said, starting 1st and 3rd, and then Mercedes 2nd and 5th. Enes Parachki not with the best of qualifying efforts, and Jesper Johansson starting 2nd. Could try and pressure Alfred Klaus for the race lead today, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens in qualifying here today. Looking a bit further down, you have the two McLarens, Lewis McIntyre and Josef Frederik Schutter, starting 6th and 8th. I think you would expect them to be a bit higher, especially considering where Schutter qualified last time out at Silverstone. But yeah, there's only so much they can do, I suppose. But yeah, I think one other team in the mix there as well in the midfield would be AlphaTauri. 7th and 9th is a brilliant result for them here in quali.
Yeah, they've got a very good chance of scoring points once again today at the Hungarian. So, and I'll champion Lia Parachki starting 5th, as you said. So, but one man that shocked me even more was Mandic, as he was looking strong, but he just didn't set a good lap time. Feels like they just didn't want to go out again. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe could have been some sort of issue, or I don't know, something that we don't know about. But he just didn't set a lap time.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I do agree with you there, and I have no idea why Mandic just didn't go out. I think it is very weird to say. Considering Mandic was on very, very good pace through Q1 and Q2, and then just Q3 just absolutely went. So yeah, he's going to have a lot to do in the race, and obviously P10 is not where you'd like to start in Q3, considering you got a lot of cars behind who are on very, very good pace. But enough about that. It's time to go through the qualifying grid. And as we're now here then for the race, time to go through the qualifying grid one last time before it's lights out here at Hungary. And starting on pole position for the first time this season, Alfred Klaus takes the P1 spot here in qualifying, and lining up alongside him in the front row, fellow countryman Jesper Johansson in the Mercedes. Dennis Groff starts in 3rd then, with Laban Zasnishkai in 4th. Then it is Enes Parachki starting down in 5th. Let's see what he's going to be able to do today, as Lewis McIntyre will be P6. Eric Alderberg is 7th, with Josef Frederik Schutter, the race winner last time out, starting down in 8th. Then it's Will Parrish in 9th. Great result here in qualifying for AlphaTauri. And then it's going to be Thomas Mandic rounding out the top 10.
And shockingly, in 11th, we have Kulasek, who scored his first ever podium last race round. He couldn't get a good enough lap time to put himself into Q3. Then in 12th we have Chereznia, and in 13th we have Arena. Then in 14th and 15th we have the two Williams of Alex Prost and Alexander Arnold. Then in 16th we have Franco Gamba, so Alpine starting a bit lower, but maybe you can see both drivers making improvements in the race. Fernando Tost in 17th and Wale in 18th, both not really wanting to be there in those positions, but they will find themselves an uphill race. And in 19th and 20th, we find the both Haas drivers of Daniel Fraser and Victor Albon.
Yeah, so that is it then. Qualifying grid is set. We're going to go down to the grid as the lights are coming on. Klaus on pole position, 39 laps here at Hungary, and we're underway here at the Hungarian. Not the greatest starts for Alfred Klaus as we head off the line, and Johansson got a very good jump on the Red Bull driver, and heading into turn number 1, he's going to be wheel to wheel with him then.
Yeah, as the two drivers are still going wheel to wheel, Suzuki and they in the background, as I think Johansson has taken the lead. So Johansson up in the lead of the race. Klaus tries to fight back. They're going side by side into turn 3. It's great racing from the two Swedes. Suzuki has still a look at the back, but it's on the outside for Klaus. And he goes back onto the track and he takes his spot back. And now into turn 4, it's Klaus with the lead. Once again, Johansson took it briefly.
Oh,
it's a big accident. That's a massive pileup. And it's multiple cars involved. That's Mandic and one of the Williams drivers. That's Broster. What I saw Williams winning, I saw McLaren spin as well. That's a huge accident there. As we go, we go through the Haas made some positions. It's a crazy start here, insane battle for the lead, and a huge accident there. I have no idea what happened there. We'll have to take a replay at that because, yeah, let's look at replay at the start. That was a crazy start there, Miran.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I have to say, Klaus, brilliant on the defense. But let's see what happened here. And oh, this was a separate accident then between Mandic and Broster. That was, if we could get a replay on that other accident as well. This is McIntyre side by side with Josef Fredrik Schuto, and then Chereznia is there, and the two teammates I think made contact there. Was it contact?
Yeah, it was contact. I think we can get the onboard from McIntyre. Yeah. And look at this. It was he goes onto the curb a bit. It's contact, but then I think maybe from the shock, the drivers behind couldn't process what happened, and that resulted into contact.
And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think there was much Josef Fredrik Schuto could do there. He left him more than enough space, and McIntyre still went off. So I think that's gonna be on Lewis.
And that's Graf into P3 actually, as well as we were looking there. But let's look again at the replay. But meanwhile, Graf did take P3 as we're gonna look at the replay of that. As the Snishka was looking behind the two race leaders, but then again, I think he might have done a mistake here. Yeah, he locks up, and Graf takes advantage of that fully. Says thank you very much, and that's him up into P3.
Yeah, so Dennis Graf now gets that Red Bull onto the podium. Here's Daniel Fraser going around the outside line or trying to go around the outside line of Fernando Tost into the final corner. Arnold's gonna try to make it stick, but unfortunately isn't able to do so, and he stays behind the Brit for the time being. But yeah, Labas Asnishkai will be kind of punching himself for that mistake then as he stays in 4th. But Klaus holds the lead then, heading off the line, 0.6 of a second ahead of Jesper Johansson.
I must say that was a crazy battle for Elite to start, as two drivers just going at it completely. Then Klaus came out victorious. As we did, the two Williams clearly not the start Williams is hoping for, as Arnold dropped to the back of the field, and Broster sadly had that big accident there with Mandic, and he crashed out. Mandic was still racing, but I think he has damage, so he's sitting there in 19th. But AlphaTauri did lose one position each, but still retained their positions in the points. And McIntyre did did start 6th, but after that, he did save it. Respect to McIntyre, he saved it very well, but that meant he dropped some position that is still in the points somehow. Maybe I don't know if he has damage, but he seems to be going fine. But of course, maybe there's going to be an interesting debrief, McLaren staff and garage.
Yeah, it certainly won't be a fun one for the drivers, that's to say the least, as Jesper Johansson has now set the fast lap of the race as we approach lap 3 out of 39. Just looking at Will Paristan, he's chasing down Lewis McIntyre, and McIntyre obviously, who could have a bit of damage to that McLaren. Same with Josef Fredrik Schuto, and it could impact both of their races here. But yeah, I think if the if the two McLarens accident is anything to go by, then I think the accident between Mandic and Broster was much of the same. So Thomas Mandic has just kind of compromised his own race here. That's to say the least. As we go back to the race lead then, Klaus and Johansson gonna fight it out, and then Dennis Groff as well, trying to keep a close proximity to Jesper Johansson. Ennis Parachki, at the moment, not really able to get himself out of P5. He hasn't gained or lost anything on the opening few laps here.
Yeah, he's looking close to Zasnishkai with being under half a second there. But yeah, as you said, he didn't lose any position or gain any. So, but maybe that will change later on in the race.
Yeah, we will just have to wait and see them, as Johansson now is going to have the DRS on Alfred Klaus. 5/10 the gap between the two, and you can see they're lapping very, very similarly as well on that previous lap. So no one really able to get ahead of one another, as Johansson, I think, did run a bit wide on exit there, as we're going to see the two Alfa Romeos now fight with each other. Daniel Wallace going to go to the inside line of Luca Farina. Farina, though, on the outside line, isn't able to do anything here, and he's going to come under pressure from his fellow countryman. Franco Gamba is going to go round the outside line of the Alpine. I think looked a bit unstable on the corner entry there, but they're still side by side. Farina holding him off on the outside line there, as the Alpine of Franco Gamba is unfortunately going to have to stay behind. Oh, as he almost lost it there on the exit. I think, well, obviously there's not much grip on the runoff there, so yeah, Gamba almost losing it, but he was able to keep it going at least.
One thing I have to mention, if you can get the positions gained, Wale has gained 6 positions as of now, and he's up into 12. As I see 6 positions. Sherezny as well, 7th. He started 12, 5 positions up. So good start from both of them.
Lightning start from Kai Chereshny and Daniel Wale, but that's good stuff for Chereshny as well. Now he's running in the points once again, and he could finally put this poor run of form to an end, as we're now on to lap 5 out of 39. Ennis Parashkin now starts the fast lap of the race. So yeah, Giuseppe, he might change this, as Johansson having a tiny look on the inside line there, maybe trying to scare Alfred Klaus a bit, but yeah, it hasn't resulted in much, and he did get another poor exit out of turn number 1, and it's just brought Dennis Groff closer to the Mercedes driver.
Johansson was just right behind Klaus, maybe trying to scare him off a bit, using an intimidating strategy sort of thing. But of course his exit wasn't the best, and now Graf is putting him under pressure as well. Maybe this could turn into a Red Bull 1-2.
It could very well, as you've also got, if you see just further behind there on the camera, you've got Laba Zasnishkai and Ennis Parachki as well. In this little train. I don't know if you could call her train, but in this pack, we'll just say pack. So I wouldn't say to count those two out either, considering that they're pretty close to the top 3, so they could be in the fight for the podium here.
Yeah, the top 5 looking all very close together, even including the leader. So even we could see even a lead change, not even a podium change. So we have to keep out for this top 5, as they all look all close together. All of them between each other, separated by usually half a second, as they all have DRS on each other now, as we are on lap 6. For now, nothing happening as of now, but that's, I think Jan's going wide.
Very wide.
So he's lost a lot of time now to Klaus.
Yeah, he went very, very wide. Look, he just dropped out of a second completely out of turn number 1. And this is the thing, as we're going to see Franco Gamba once again go on to Luca Farina. Is he going to be able to get the move down this time? Yes, he does. And Fernando Tost might try to slip up the inside line of the Italian as well. He is going to try it. Now on the outside through turn number 3. He swings it round the outside and pulls the move off into P14. The Polish man goes.
Farina seems to have had not the best of starts here, as he's been losing positions after positions, as he started 12th, I think, and now he's down in 15th. So not the best start. Not the start the Italian was hoping for. Let's see if he can turn around the race. But even after having that bit of a moment, Janssen is still in DRS range, so he did have a bit of a scare there, but if he stays in DRS range, he should be fine still, as he's about 8 tenths off his competitor there in the Red Bull, as they're not going to come around the final corner to make it 7 laps of this Grand Prix. now going onto the straight. All of them looking very close. Only Shooter then makes a bit of a gap there, with being about 1.5 seconds off. So the top 5 all looking very close to each other. But still no moves made just yet. Maybe they're studying each other a bit. And as you know, at the latest stage of the race, we're surely going to see one move or the other.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting for Jesper Johansson, because now, considering he lost just 7/10 in one corner, somewhere along the lines of that, he's just going to have to spend these following laps to try and claw back the gap that he lost. And you can tell he's pushing as well. Look at the gap between him and Dennis Graf.
Yeah, he's looking very close as well. As we might see him actually trying to attempt to move onto him. We should put it onto the podium. But Parashki is also close as well.
Yeah, Parashki there in 5th. He's still trying to chase down Lavas Osnishka as we go further down the field then. Kai Chereshnia, who had a very, very good start, seems that the pace might have run dry for him a bit at the moment, as he's struggling to keep up with Josef Fredrik Schuta, who himself is struggling to keep up with Dennis Parashki. Eric Adelberg is now knocking on the door of the Polish driver.
Yeah, as he did start in P7 and did lose that position late at the start of the Grand Prix. Now looking to get it back, as he's got McIntyre at the back of him as well as his teammate Parrish. So this is also a very close pack here, which is the fight for P7.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to say the least, as Adelberg run very wide. Yeah, run very, very wide there. And Lewis McIntyre is going to try to immediately take advantage of that, as McIntyre is going to go up and alongside him, heading through turn 2. McIntyre goes round the outside line, tries to hold it the long way round, but into turn 4, it is going to be Adelberg who holds station, and McIntyre didn't get the greatest of runs. Adelberg's teammate Will Parrish might try to back him up here, but there's not a lot Will can do here. And yeah, Parrish is going to have to stay in P10 then, but McIntyre, especially once again, I think when you're in such a close trade, one little mistake, one poor exit could just compromise your position completely. And we just saw that as Klaus goes very wide and Johansson takes the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Klaus just lost 2 positions in one corner. What on earth just went down?
I have no idea what happened there. Was even lost as we see the replay of that. Yes, I was just about to ask. As Klaus, who was in the most comfortable position here, yeah, we've seen many drivers doing mistakes, so that's a very big mistake. He goes completely wide, and his teammate Graf even takes advantage of that. So that's Klaus's race lead completely gone and in shambles now, as Johansson is your new race leader.
Absolutely monumental mistake for Alfred Klaus. I've never seen a lockup of that magnitude. That is, I don't know, that is certainly something. And I don't know, we've had a lot of lockups this race, so I don't know what that could come down to. It could be temperatures, it could be just the track conditions as a whole. Obviously, Hungary maybe does get quite a lot of warmth during the summer months, and obviously the track temperatures could play a role into just brake temps as a whole. As here's Alexander Arnold, he's behind the 2 Hasses at the moment, so he's going to try to clear them as soon as possible. So we're looking at Eric Adelberg still putting the pressure on Kai Chereshnia here.
Chereshnia with that great start that put him on P7 is still defending from Manuel Naftari, who's looking to try and get his place back that he managed to qualify in. But his career Chereshnia has been able to keep it. So good stuff from the pole. Yeah, I mean, generally in that turn, wanted to come back to the mistake. In that turn, we've seen many drivers do the mistake, but even with 2 yesterday, but not by going that wide. That's what shocks me the most.
Yeah, we have not seen a lockup like that around this circuit, and I honestly can't remember for the life of me the last time I saw a lockup that big, because that was absolutely massive, and he had quite a bit of an advantage over Johansson as well. And to lock up like that and lose not only a position to Johansson but to Dennis Graf as well, I mean, that's certainly something. So yeah, Alfred Klaus definitely won't be happy about making a mistake like that, but the only thing he can do in this position is to just try and claw back the time that he lost to his teammate and Jesper Johansson, who now leads by almost 2 seconds from Dennis Graf. So yeah, this lockup from Alfred Klaas was really the perfect thing for Jesper Johansson at the moment. He's in dreamland at the moment, considering his championship rival is in P5. Alfred Klaas, who's the closest man to him in the championship at the moment, is down in P3 now. And he's in the race lead by 2 seconds. So yeah, Jesper Johansson now then is just going to be about trying to hold this gap, trying to be consistent and just bring it to the end. Clean, no questions asked. And obviously that is easier said than done for Jesper Johansson. So we'll just have to wait and see what he is gonna be able to do here. Going a bit further down the field, and here's Daniel Fraser. He's going to try to go onto his teammate Victor Albom into turn number 1. But both of them stay behind for the time being. Thomas Mandic as well has caught up to the rest of the field now, so he is there putting the pressure on Alexander Arnold, but Victor Albom goes wide. Fraser tries to take advantage of it, but into turn 3. Unfortunately for Daniel Fraser, nothing comes out of it. And the Brit has to stay behind his teammate for the time being. As we go 10 positions up the field now to Erik Adelberg and Kai Chereshnia still in the chase for 7th position. At the moment, Adelberg, Formula 2 champion, just biding his time at the moment behind Chereshnia. For the time being. Adelberg as well, a race winner around this track, mind you. Back in his Formula 2 days, he won around here in that very, very legendary F2 season of his. But yeah, he is now still pressuring Chereshnia for 7th. As we're looking at Gamba, he got past one Alfa Romeo a few laps earlier, and he is now trying to get past another. As we're going to have Daniel Fraser is going to go to the inside line of his teammate Victor Albom here into turn number 1, and the Haas's swap positions rather comfortably. Fraser gets past Albom, but Albom might be overtaken by Alexander Arnold here, who's finally going to try to get past one of the Haas's as he goes round the outside line. Albom runs a bit wide through turn number 3, and he's going to maybe be dropped down to last here as Mandic is going to go around the outside line of Victor Albom, and he lost 4 positions in the span of 4 corners. My word.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Albom here, as even Mandic managed to get past. Mandic was still racing and managed to catch up back to the pack. And I remember he was by like 7 seconds, so he's trying to do the best of race as he can. As actually looks at replay of that, actually maybe I think we saw Gamba get past Wale there. Not sure about that.
I think this might have been a lockup. I think this might have been a mistake from Daniel Wale heading down into turn 11. And yeah, look at that. It's turn 12 actually, but yeah, turn 12 catching out so many drivers.
It certainly seems to be one of the most trickier turns, especially as it's a very after the straight. It's a very sudden, nearly 90-degree corner, so it's not the easiest one to go through.
Yeah, it's such a sharp corner, so yeah, it's really, really easy to be caught out into turn 12, and obviously we've seen an increased amount of lockups today, so yeah, we don't know. I guess it just makes it worse. But yeah, Adelberg still putting the pressure on Kai Chereshnia, so nothing has really changed here at the moment. And for the foreseeable future, it looks like it will remain the same. But well, not for the foreseeable future, I don't know. At the moment, it doesn't feel like anything is going to change, but it definitely could, and I do think it will.
Yeah.
As we now, sorry, go on.
That is if Chelsea can defend well, but yeah, as we're going to say, I'm pretty sure we're going to mention that Shaz Nishkai and Brashki even are looking close to put on the fight for Klaus, who is sitting in P3 right now. So that is pretty much the fight for the podium.
It definitely could be here, as Zasnishka now 4 tenths off Alfred Klaus, and Klaus has dropped outside of that 1 second range of his teammate. So now Zasnishka could try and get himself another cheeky podium here.
Yes, I think that mistake from Klaus just completely cut him out, and now he's lost all the momentum that he had, and now he's under pressure by the man in the Ferrari and the Mercedes as well. Eventually, if it could come down to that, so Klaus has to be very careful now, and the best he can probably keep on to now is his third place, and he might even lose more than that if he loses even more momentum, and we could see Zasnishka back on the podium as well, but even Parachki, who knows.
Yeah, it is a very, very tight battle at the moment for the podium, for the last step of the podium. You could have Lawaz Zasnishka, you could have Alfred Klaus, and even Nenes Parachki there as well. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what Zasnishka is gonna be able to do here. As, yeah, I don't have more to say on that, really.
One thing I can add is that the more position Parachki manages to make, the better, because right now, if Parachki were to make 10 points and Johansson 25, I think they would be only 1 point separated from each other, because they would have Johansson would get 50 points more than him. Pardon me if my maths are wrong, but the more position Parachki manages to make, the better he will keep of championship gap to his teammate.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly a very weird predicament, I have to say. Red Bull are in a good position, but in a bad one at the same time. They're running 2-3, but the gaps they're so off the pace compared to the likes of Johansson and even Zasnishka and Parachki that it probably isn't going to last for much longer. So I think it's just the right place at the wrong time for Red Bull at the moment.
Then again, Red Bull are both sitting in second and third, so right now would be a good placement for them. Although Graf, after overtaking his teammate, couldn't just. Johansson probably just skyrocketed off as he was close to Klaus, but just couldn't make the move. As we know, this track isn't the easiest to make overtakes on, but after that, he just pretty much built a rocket ship on his car apparently, because he's completely went away from Dennis Graf in second. Yeah, go
Sorry, wait. No, I wasn't planning on saying anything. But no, continue.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm interrupting you too much today. I apologize.
It's okay. Let's go back to another battle for 7th as Adelberg. Guess whose door he's knocking on? It's Kai Sherestner's door again. As you see him very close. McIntyre there as well. Don't count him out. As this is a pretty nice fight for P7. But then again, Adelberg just seems very close. He's probably the car who's closest to the car he has in front out of all of them, but he just can't seem to make that move past.
Yeah, I think Adelberg maybe is a bit frustrated that an opportunity hasn't arisen, but yeah, he's just gonna have to remain patient for the time being and just wait it out. That's basically the main principle with racing. It's all about being patient, really.
Yeah, especially at tracks like these where overtaking isn't the easiest of things. And as we've seen, one mistake pretty much can make you lose many positions. And Klaus was at his expense one of the biggest showcases of that, as he has lost both the lead and even second place beforehand, and that pretty much killed off all of his momentum. As while you're racing, you don't really, if you're that into it, you don't really think about, well, you just know the track and stuff, and one single mistake can catch you completely out of it, and well, put you in the situation that, for example, Klaus is in right now. As actually, I must say, McIntyre looks very close to Halberg right now. and he was looking around. Oh, that's actually McIntyre bit off, losing a bit of time from Adelberg. So yeah, Adelberg is in a situation where he wants to attack Szczesny, but then again he has to defend from McIntyre and back and forth and back and forth. And actually, I must mention Parrish and Kulisek are also catching up.
Yeah, I feel like he's waited so long. Now other people are beginning to catch up. But yeah, Adelberg went wide through turn 2, and he kind of compromised his line, so allowed McIntyre to catch up.
Oh, and that's Szczesny off, and that's Adelberg through it, just like that. And now Szczesny is under pressure from McIntyre as well. Szczesny with a big mistake into turn 12, not the first one today. He's gifted the position, and actually McIntyre now is under pressure from Parrish. Look at that, going to the straight.
And it's all kicked off then. Adelberg being rewarded for his patience here. Not so much for Kai Szczesny, but Parrish now is going to take advantage of the situation. He's going to try to go to the inside, but McIntyre late on the brakes into turn number 1. Trying to keep ahead, but into turn number 2 we go then. Parrish gets past up into 9th. Very good stuff from Will Parrish. I have to say, the 2 Alpha Tauris are looking really good today.
Yeah, they are, as actually don't count out Kulisek because he's also there, looking to get at least a points finish here. So he might steal that point paying position of 10th away from McIntyre as well.
Yeah, this could get very, very interesting then. But again, another driver looking up at turn 12. We've had it happen again. And this time it was Kai Szczesny. Luckily for the Polish driver, though, it's only knocked him down 1 position. But I think he will be. I think the pressure maybe just got to him. I'm not sure.
Yeah, having defend for many laps, and essentially just got to him. I mean, that's one of the qualities you have to keep your your head cold and calculated. But these mistakes happen, as these drivers are human after all. And sadly, that's so Szczesny drop off. Still, respect to Szczesny, we did start 12 and still finds himself in the points. But he has to hope he doesn't make mistakes like that again, as we did cut back to Nishka for a reason, as he's looking close to Klaus once again.
Yeah, he has been very close to the back of Alfred Klaus for these past few laps, as we're looking at Fernando Tost having a look on the inside line of Daniel Wale. But unfortunately for the Polish man, he's just going to have to stay behind for the time being in this little battle for P13. It's not the greatest of races so far for Fernando Tost. I feel like he switched places with Kai Szczesny. I'm going to be completely honest. First 4 races, you had Tost scoring all the points, and now Szczesny. And then Szczesny was the one who didn't. And now suddenly Szczesny scoring all the points, and Tost isn't able to perform. So it's a bit weird at the moment. So we're now looking at Labas Asnishkai, then in 4th. He is chasing down Alfred Klaus in 3rd still, but he's got Enis Parachki for company there. Parachki, I have to say, he's looking good on the pace, Giuseppe, but at the moment just isn't able to do anything. And I feel like that is a very frustrating situation to be in, considering that Jesper Johansson at the moment is leading the race, so he's going to score 26 points as things stand, and he will tie Enis Parachki in the lead of the championship if things stay as they are.
Yeah, Parachki desperately needs to make that move onto Snishka and then eventually onto Klaus as well. Only thing he has to hope for is Graf maybe catching up to Johansson, as he did a bit catch up, but he's still there at 2 seconds. As we cut back to the battle for P16 between Fraser, Arno, then weirdly Mandich because of a contact at the start, if you remember. As Arno actually will go down the inside. Very daring dive bomb, but you love to see it. As we go through turn 1, back to the DRS. I think the Haas has DRS. No, wait, the Williams has the DRS. As Arnold finds himself comfortably into 16th, as Mandich will actually take advantage of that, trying to make moves. So respect to Mandich for not giving up in the race. Oh, that's actually contact as well, I think. Very, very daring move by Mandich, but that rewards him and puts him into 17th. So it's 1 position at a time, but he's being patient. Maybe he'll find himself up enough if he keeps his pace up.
Yeah. Frey, I don't think there was contact. It was very close to contact, and mind you, they could have been disastrous for both of them if it was contact. But luckily there wasn't. But Fraser did go wide on the inside line there. So it was very close and a bit dangerous as well. But luckily we had no contact between the two. As Will Parrish is now going to try to do what his teammate did and get past Kai Shereshnia, preferably on the track. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how this is going to play out. And Shereshnia, I think there is just a bit of a train forming behind him, and he's not very good on the pace, because you see Adelberg is pulling away from the Aston Martin at the moment.
Adelberg, who then we did see him very close to Shereshnia multiple times. He just had to get past, and finally, well, just get past Shereshnia and try and catch Shuto. But actually, talking about catching drivers, Shuto is actually getting closer and closer to that pack for P3. I need to mention, as just some seconds ago he was even in DRS range. Now he's dropped off a bit. Maybe he had a bit of a mistake, but Shuto has caught up. So quietly but surely, he's been catching up there.
Yeah, Josef Frederik Schuto, I think he's been a bit on and off this race, I'm going to be honest. There was one part in the earlier stage of the race where he actually seemed to be catching up to this pack, and then he just dropped off completely, and now he's catching up again. So, I don't know, he could catch up to the top 5 Josef Frederik Schuto, but we'll just have to wait and see what actually is going to happen as we now head down into turn number 1. No moves tried from anyone in this pack just yet. So go back to Thomas Mandic now, chasing down Alexander Arnold for P16 now. Another race to forget for Thomas Mandic, safe to say. But yeah, he's at least trying to salvage it somewhat.
Yeah, as Mandic now, well, gotta give it to him. He doesn't give up, as his next target now is Arnold. But after that, Arnold is 10 seconds off Farina, so it's he'll have to be very, very quick on the pace to catch up to the Italian in 15th. But for now, Mandic stays in 17th, trying to find a gap to get past Arnold somehow for 16th.
Yeah, we'll see if he is going to be able to do it then. Considering he is still pretty alright on the pace. Just that obviously he had that accident and it dropped him way down the order. So, yeah, I don't really think that Mandic will be scoring points here today. Either way, we go back up to the top 10, as Parrish is still trying to put the pressure on Kai Shereshnia. Hungary is such a difficult track to overtake. I've seen so many of these trains up and down the field, and just drivers not being able to find an opportunity to get past each other. So we see so many of them stuck behind a slower car for laps on end. And obviously it really does apply to this man, Laban Zasnishkai, who I feel like has been stuck by an Alfred Klaus for an age now.
Yeah, he certainly does seem like he has the pace. He just hasn't been able to find that deciding gap, as actually another Ferrari who has been able to make a move. Mandic out to Arnold, so that brings him up to 16th. Good stuff from the Croatian. As we come back to the other Ferrari further up the pack, Zasnishkai, who is still behind Klaus, as you said. Yeah, I mean, of course, he is there and he does have the pace. He's actually put a bit of a gap onto Parashki to actually drop him out of the DRS zone. And I know this is said actually 3 times, but it doesn't matter because it is how things actually are. And now as we go through the final corner, put us into lap 25, about 2/3 of the race done. Using the DRS, Zasnishkai he's gonna try and pull himself closer to the man in the Red Bull and maybe try and move, as though he does stay behind for now, but he's very close. You can see him there. It's about a matter of maybe 1 to 2 meters. So Zasnishkai certainly has the pace. He just needs to find that deciding gap and finally make the move. As I said, he's basically dropped off Parashki from the DRS, so now he can focus on offense. And if you can keep Parashki there, completely forget about Parashki. But of course, for Parashki, this is not the optimal situation, as he needs those points to keep his championship lead. Well, he will keep it as of now, but maybe with some points between the two, just not to be, because otherwise that would be maybe too close for comfort for Parashki being on equal points with his teammate.
Yeah, it certainly is interesting, but Labas Zasnishka, he just gets so excruciatingly close to Alfred Klaus, but he just isn't able to get past him. It's such a shame for Klaus. So or for what was I gonna say, Zasnishka. But yeah, I guess it is good news for Alfred Klaus, considering as he's at least going to be able to keep onto the podium. But Zasnishka preferably would like to keep his podium streak going. So we now head down the start-finish straight. Is he going to be able to try anything into turn 1? No, he stays behind again. Runs a bit wide on exit, in fact. That's going to give Klaus the advantage by about a tenth or two. So yeah, Zasnishka, I can understand that he probably would be frustrated in a situation like this. As Fernando Tost tries to pile on the pressure to Daniel Wale, but hasn't been able to get past the Chinese driver in these past few laps. So we now head through the chicane. 5/10 is the gap between the two at the moment, and this Parachki has actually closed down the gap now to within 1 second. So we saw him drop out of a second there momentarily, but seems to be back in it now.
Yes, actually, as I did some calculations, Johan, I don't know if we've mentioned that because I was quickly caught off guard, but if we haven't mentioned it, we're gonna mention it again, or we're gonna mention it newly. Johansson would be in the championship as he has more P2s compared to his teammate Parachki. So if Parachki wants to keep the championship lead, he does have to make that deciding move onto Zasnishka, as he has caught closer again to the man in the Ferrari, because of course Zasnishka is stuck behind Klaus and hasn't been able to make that move, as they did drop him off earlier, as I mentioned, but now Parachka has caught back up again. I'm sorry. And he's actually dropped off Shuto, as I did mention earlier as well, that Shuto was making time up, but as you said, Miran, it's on, off, etc. because Shuto is now 2.4 seconds off.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame for Josef Fredrik Schuto. At the moment, I think he'd love to be a part of this pack at the moment. As one little interesting thing I'm currently seeing at the moment, Giuseppe, is that Enes Parachki is closer to Laban Zasnishka than Laban Zasnishka is to Alfred Klaus. So you obviously said how Zasnishka can start focusing more on offense, but I think at the moment he might have to start worrying about defense now that Parachki has just picked up the pace from nowhere.
Yeah, being in a three-way fight, the most tricky part, as you all may imagine, what I'm going to say now, is being in the middle of it, because you have to focus on both sides, as the probably most comfortable part to be in is right behind, as you can maybe try to find even a move to make it double. But yeah, being in the middle is always the most discomforting zone, as you have to worry about overtaking your rival, but then also defending from your other one. As we now cut back to an even bigger group. And look at Will Parrish is not going to finally try to move onto Kai Sherezny into turn 1. This is for P8. Parrish now. Well, Sherezny goes a bit wide. Parrish might take advantage of that with the DRS to his side. And he's now made the move for P8. As look at that, McIntyre now tries to move with the Sherezny down into turn 2, which leads to the turn 3. McIntyre on the outside, and he's made it stick. And now Sherezny has to worry about Kulisek as well. Sherezny's gonna lose, maybe even points playing position, as Kulisek round the outside. They both go wide, and Sherezny has lost 4 points that he could have gotten, and now he's in 11th.
Brilliant racing, but that is painful for Kai Sherezny. You have to feel for him, just losing all those positions, one after another, and after another. I doubt he's happy about it. But yeah, finally, Parrish, McIntyre, and Kulasek all move up 1 position.
Yeah, it's a good race by AlphaTauri. If they finish like this, will bring very good points home. As we cut back to another battle that's been going on for, I would say, way too long. And it's the battle for P3. You already know about it. It's Nishkai once again trying to close in, but still not making a move. And we cut back to the battle for P8. Once again, it's been just as exciting. Because look at that, McIntyre now will try to make it up into P8. The move on to Parrish. Once again into turn 1, Parrish, who did the move out to Schwezner right into this corner, will now have the position be taken away from him as McIntyre comfortably makes it through. And look at Kulasek, who's gonna follow through McIntyre just like he did on Shereznia into turn 3. Now into turn 4, he's on around the outside. Oh, as they're going very close, but Kulasek has made it stick. And maybe, I think Parrish lost some time there, so Shereznia might even make it through somehow as he's caught back up. So it's all going off here for this battle for P8.
Yeah, it is really kicking off, but it's just a bit of a slippery slope. Once you lose a position, you're compromised, and then you lose another, and you're suddenly in a bunch of vulnerable positions that you wouldn't want to be in. So, yeah, Chereshny got hit with it, and now Parrish got hit with it as well, so it's dropped both of them down the order, so yeah, it's a bit of a shame for them. As we go back up the order, looking at Enes Parashki. Now we look back to Fernando Tost, who is still trying to get past Daniel Walla. After all these laps, he still hasn't been able to manage that.
Yeah, as we've seen here, Mendrab still sticking behind, as we've seen at the top of the field, at the bottom of the field, in the middle of the pack. We're seeing it everywhere. And another example here is right at your screens with Fernando Tost trying to make a move past Daniel Walla, although he's very close now with the slipstream and the DRS. We might actually see a move to the first corner as we now go rapidly down the straight, and as I was right, as Fernando Tost now goes down the inside, will he finally make it count as they both go round, they go side by side, and yes, Fernando Tost finally up into 13th.
Yeah, finally his patience pays off then as Fernando Tost gets up into 13th, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I think he isn't really going any higher than that, considering it's 5.5 to the closest man, Franco Gamba, in 12th.
I mean, a position still very good from Tost to get that position done, and he still has about 9 laps or 10 laps to get it, to make that gap up to Gamba somehow. As actually, I will mention Gamba as he did make the gap back up to the pack for P8, so now it's about a 5-way battle. But you guys know which battle we're gonna go to now, as it's the battle for P3 once again. As we see Parashki still stuck behind the Ferrari of Labus Nishkai, who's been having actually a pretty good race, still not being able to get past Klaus, as I think he's actually dropped off from Klaus now, so it's more a battle for P4.
Yeah, that is actually quite surprising, because Klaus has, I think, closed down the gap on Dennis Groff by a tiny bit, so Labas Nishka has been pushing for so long, I think just isn't really able to afford to do it anymore. As there's Franco Gamba, he's going to the inside of Kai Chereshnia. The two former teammates now fighting each other here. So Gamba's going to try to go around the outside line. Chereshnia holding the inside as he is able to defend from Franco Gamba then.
Yeah, Gamba, who's caught up back to this pack, as he did qualify 16th, but if he can stick to this pack in these next few laps, he could try and make moves, even get himself up into the podium position, so that would be an amazing race, an amazing comeback for Gamba.
Yeah, it definitely could, and we'll just have to wait and see what is going to happen. There's 9 laps to go, so anything could still happen within that time frame. So now looking at Enes Parachki, this could be his moment to strike, as he's waited and he's waited and he's waited. And Labas Nishkai is out of DRS range, or well, maybe not yet, but he is getting very close to being out of DRS range. So Enes, if he gets P4, he'll still be in the lead of the championship.
But one man who's going to try and move again is again McIntyre, who's been recovering well this race after initial contact, and he goes down the inside of Adelberg, and he's going to make another move down. It's been a great last few laps for McIntyre.
Yeah, he is flying at the moment, Lewis McIntyre. And up into 7th he goes as well. Brilliant from Lewis McIntyre. He is on it today.
Well, his next target would be his teammate Shuto, but he's still 7 seconds off, so he either has to put a rocket ship at the back of his car, or he's not going to catch, because Shuto right now is also once again close to this pack. Not in DRS range, but close once again, as he's been a bit of a question mark this race, whether he has pace or not. But he's sitting comfortably in P6. I guess he's the man in the most no man's land this race, because he's just been sitting there. But you know, P6 would still be good points to bring home, and maybe he could take advantage if things for between those three goes south. But of course, we do not hope that is the case, or at least the drivers do not hope that it's the case, because Pavarski once again looks very close to Snishka. So Snishka is now definitely out of DRS range. So it's now or never, pretty much, for Pavarski, because now it's the best chance he's got, especially this laps now, at least the next few laps, because now he stays behind, but maybe now using the DRS on the straight can also pull himself even closer. So in these next few laps, Pavarski's gonna have to make it count.
Yes, indeed. It really is just all or nothing right now for Enis Parachki. So he's just going to have to try and do his best here. But we've seen so many instances this race of faster drivers being stuck behind slower ones for ages. And if that trend continues, as Parachki, I think, did make a bit of a mistake there, I don't think Enis will be able to get Laban here. And obviously, I think Johansson in the race lead will be hoping that Zasnishkai can keep his teammate at bay.
Now Johansson has been comfortably sitting in the lead of the race ever since Klaus made that mistake, as he's pulled a gap of 3.7 seconds on the graph. So Johansson unbothered by anything right now, and he's just cruising home to maybe eventually take the win and pull himself closer to his championship rival, that is his teammate. Parachki doing anything to stop that and actually keep his championship lead. But Zasnishkai, of course, wanted to keep his decent P4, as Zasnishkai is in a very good run of form. He wouldn't get a podium as of now, but a P4 finish is still extremely good and exactly what Ferrari is looking for after that 2020 year. But as of now, Zasnishkai stays in P4, although he has dropped off from Klaus. So as I mentioned before, Parachki, this is his best chance he's gotten all race.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. This is Parachki's best chance to be able to do something this race, considering he's just stayed in P5 all these 33 laps, hasn't moved up or down any position. So now could maybe be the time for Parachki to make a change to that for the better and get himself up into fourth.
Yeah, as for now, he does stay behind. Shuto is also there, so he has to watch out. Any mistake could push Shuto closer and actually put him into P5. So, but as for now, he isn't in DRS range, so Parachki only can worry about offense and taking the P4 spot from Zasnishkai, as he does have the faster car. But Zasnishkai is a proven driver pretty much. We know his quality, but we also know Parachki's quality. So this is all, well, if things do get down to it, this ought to be a great battle.
Definitely, I do agree with you on that one, as Parachki now heads round the final corner, and I think he's going to have the DRS. Not quite, no. Zasnishkai also has the DRS. He just keeps floating in and out of the 1 second gap, and he just gets into it every time during the DRS activation point. So, yeah, Ennis gets a bit unlucky with that, considering Laban is always outside of DRS range, but just magically drops into it down the start-finish straight, where usually you gain the most using the DRS.
Although I'm sure Laban will not be complaining about that, or maybe he's just using Klaus as a way to keep that before, as he knows he can't make the move into Klaus, but somehow trying to stay there and kind of like get the DRS. So he's certainly not complaining about that DRS, which keeps him up, as actually Arnold has made the move back onto Mandic, as we saw Mandic make the move earlier. Maybe Mandic made the move a mistake, and that's Arnold back to 16th.
Yeah, good stuff from Alexander Arnold. I have to give that to him. Thomas Mandic wasn't able to find pace at all, and now got re-overtaken by Alexander Arnold. So yeah, good stuff from the German.
We got back to, you know what battle it is. It's the battle for P3, or actually more P4 now. But also we're looking at the battle for P8, as now with the pack we used to have has spread out a bit, but Kulasek and Alberg have not. So Kulasek now could try and get himself up into P8, as he's very close to Adelberg here, with DRS as well.
Yeah, as Kulasek could try and do something. Not yet though for the Czech driver. He stays behind, heading into turn 1, gets a bit of a worse exit as well compared to Adelberg up ahead. So Kulasek just has to stay behind for the time being, I suppose.
Yeah, as we saw, well, the pack that used to be, as I said already, has spread out. So it is only between those two, as they don't really have to worry about other drivers anymore, so they can fight it out till the end. And I say till the end because we're on lap 35, soon 36, because we see Johansson going around the final straight into the turn that we saw Klaus make the mistake. If you look at the minimap, I think that is him. So yeah, we're gonna head on to lap 36. It's not much time left for the drivers here.
Yeah. There is not a lot of time left, so yeah, a few of these guys will have to get a move on if they want to get past the drivers they're stuck behind, especially Wojtek Kulasek here and Enis Parachki in 5th. Zasnishkai, who we obviously saw trying to fend off Enis Parachki, has actually caught backup to Alfred Klaus. I wasn't aware of that, but Parachki seems to have dropped off, and I'm afraid for Enis Parachki that might have just been his best shot at getting P4 thrown away. So I think Enis might just have to settle for P5, unfortunately for him. But, oh, that is Klaus wide once again through the chicane, and Zasnishka is going to go round the outside line, and he does it. He's back up into 3rd. Parachki is going to try to follow him through, but it doesn't work. It does not work for Enis Parachki, and now Josef Fredrik Schuto has caught up to Parachki and this pack. Big drama as Klaus locks up once again, makes another crucial error, and this time it drops him out of the podium completely. And Laban Zasnishkai finally gets through to P3, and you can see he's just gone off into the sunset there. He has pulled away and now is going to try and get a 3rd consecutive podium for Ferrari, but Parachki does not want to finish P5 here. He is going to try to get past Alfred. Klaus has a look at the turn number 1, but nothing comes out of that just yet. Hello again, Giuseppe.
Yeah, as I think I might have missed some action, as it's all coming down now these last few laps. Even Schulte has caught up. So yeah, the battle for pretty much the podium positions is on, but more for P4, as we see Klaus even dropping out of the podium positions, and Zasnishka is really happy about that. He's gonna see his 3rd consecutive podium in a row.
Yeah, Laban Zasnishkai, his efforts and his patience finally paying up on Alfred Klaus. This will not be a performance for his own highlight reel, that's to say the least. He's just made so many silly errors today, and it's dropped him out of the race lead and now the podium as well. So yeah, he is not going to be very, very happy about this one, and he's now got Enis Parachki knocking at his door with these last 2 laps to go. And Parachki, he wants this position. He needs this position if he wants to stay ahead of Jesper Johansson in the championship.
Yes, Parachki is now looking even closer than ever, as Klaus has dropped a long way off Zasnishka. So we just saw how fast Zasnishka was. Klaus, who's just been losing places after places, and now Parachki pretty much has the weaker opponent of the two, and he knows that because he actually had a look down the inside. But Parachki, even though he has a bit of, well, we saw Zasnishka clearly was faster than Klaus, but now, even though there's that, Schuto is close behind Parachki as well. So it just seems that Parachki just can't get the best possible situation for him. But as a racing driver, you can't really choose that, so we'll just see what the world champion can do with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think Parachki is going to be able to do it. He has the pace, and he is pushing, but no one's gotten past Alfred Klaus with an overtake. It's only been his mistakes. So, unless Klaus decides to make another error here, I think Parachki will just stay in P5 unless he can prove us wrong.
He has to worry, because even if Schuto some out of nowhere makes the move, you would see him actually drop even a few points behind his teammate. So it could go from bad to worse.
Yeah, and Parachki definitely wouldn't want that at the time being. As now we are on the final lap of this Hungarian Grand Prix, and now it is all or nothing for Enes Parachki.
Yeah, as you said, final lap of the race. Barachki has pretty much either everything or nothing to lose. I guess we could put it that like that, because
Sorry, go on.
no, yeah, because Duda is again once again close to him, but Barachki seems very close to Klaus. So it's either now he has to pull out a move out of somewhere. Maybe a corner you don't usually put a move in, because otherwise it's gonna be too late.
Yeah, I think it is looking a bit over for Enes Parachki at the moment. I don't think he's going to be able to get Alfred Klaus unless he's able to pressure him into an error here. So, yeah, I think things is going to stay as they are, unless obviously anything will change here. As that is Wojtek Kulasek, and he went off the track. I think he made a mistake here and locked up. As we're going to see what happened to Wojtek Kulasek here. The man who was running in P11 here was chasing down Will Parrish into the chicane, and Parrish locked up, and they made contact. Ooh. That was a perfect 360 though, and gets it back onto the track. But yeah, that's a bit of drama then. Adelberg running off the track, tried to go back onto it and didn't be able to continue. But this man then, who's pulled out an absolutely dominant drive here in Hungary, Jesper Johansson, wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. Laban Zasnishkai comes home for a third podium, and Alfred Klaus just holds off Enes Parachki there. So yeah, Eric Adelberg is gonna come home P8 for another good result, and he equals his best result in F1. Will Parrish makes it a double points finish, the second time for AlphaTauri this season. And yeah, it's Farina in 15th, and then Tomas Mandic, a race to forget for him in P16 then. Unfortunately for Mandic. And then we have the two Hasses. But yeah, I have to say, a very interesting race indeed. Lots of drama, and I have to say, lots of good battles as well, despite all the chaos. But yeah, either way, it is Jesper Johansson who takes the win and the fastest lap here today, and he now puts himself equal with his teammate here at Hungarian, heading into the next round. And Dennis Graf finishes second, with Laban Zasnishkai taking a third consecutive podium. Brilliant stuff from Laban Zasnishkai here today. Alfred Klaus, disappointing today from him as he finishes fourth for what could have been a potential race win today, with Enes Parachki also finishing a pretty disappointing P5. There's the two McLarens, Jotr Frederick Schuto finishing sixth, with Lewis McIntyre, very good drive from today, in seventh. That's Eric Adelberg finishing in 8th, with Wojtek Kulasek in 9th, and then Will Parrish finishing in 10th.
Heading into the non-point paying positions, we have Kash Resny, who had a very good start, but sadly dropped out to only finish P11. Gando gained also a lot of positions, could only manage to finish 12th. Then we see the other Aston Martin of Fernando Tost in the 13th. In 14th and 15th, we have the two Alfa Romeos of Daniel Wale and Luca Farina. Thomas Mandic, I think to forget, respect to him for trying to go on and make the best out of that race. He finishes in 16th, unfortunately. Alexander Randall in 17th, and then at the back of the grid, the two Hasses of Daniel Fraser and Victor Albon. And the only man to DNF at the start of the race is Alex Proster.
Yep, and that is it then for the Formula 1 Hungarian Grand Prix. And before we go then, it is time to award Driver of the Day. And it is a difficult one, I'm going to be honest. I've been thinking about this one. But I'm just going to give it to Jesper Johansson. I know, okay, it's boring to give it to the man who won the race, but we haven't seen a properly dominant drive this season. And Johansson, I think, was very, very strong and very consistent on the pace today. And you can, I guess, say, oh, if it weren't for Klaus' mistake, he wouldn't have gotten it. But he was so good on the pace today. I felt like he would have gotten it either way. So I think he deserves my driver of the day. What about you, Giuseppe?
Usually I'd agree with you, but actually I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I'm going to give it to Lewis McIntyre just purely off the fact because at the start of the race he did start sixth, yes, and he did finish in a position lower that he started in. But if you saw the race, you see that's the contact that started, which I think put him back many some positions, and that good drive to just keep on there and stay behind the pack. And also he gained like 3 seconds on Shuto, so I would say he gets mine because that insane recovery drive he pulled off. So Lewis McIntyre gets my drive of the day.
Yeah, I can see why you picked that one. I would have given it to him as well if it weren't for the accident he had in turn one. But either way, that has been it then. Thanks so much for watching. Next round of Formula One is the German Grand Prix at the Hockenheimring, so make sure to not miss that. We'll also have Super Formula On at Sepang, so make sure to not miss that. But until then, I have been Miran.
And I've been Giuseppe.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you when the AC returns for Super Formula. Thank you.